Welcome to English Without Limits. What is the difference between rice and books? Can you tell me that? In today's lesson, we're going to learn that there are different kinds of nouns. Some are nouns that you can count, 1, 2, 3. Others are nouns that you can't count. The noun itself, it just doesn't lend itself to being counted that way. So I hope you enjoy today's lesson as we study about count and non-count nouns. In our last lesson, we learned about the future perfect tense. The future perfect tense is what we use to talk about things that are not finished now, but at a different time in the future, they will be finished then. They will be done by then. The future perfect tense helps us talk about these things. Let's join the class as they begin to review these things that they learned last time about the future perfect tense.
Good afternoon, boys and girls. How are you today? Good. Okay? So-so? I heard someone say excellent. 50-50. Okay. Do you remember what we were talking about in our last lesson?
About
future. The future perfect tense. And what is the future perfect? You forgot already? Going in? If you add the ed on the end. So will have, so how did we do that? How can we make a sentence with cooked? We go, Misha will have cooked chicken by tomorrow. So Misha will have cooked chicken by tomorrow. So we have the will have, cooked, past participle, chicken by tomorrow is the time clue. Okay, so can you give me one more sentence, remember? Remember we had by the wedding day.
By the wedding day, Martha will have what?
Will have gotten
A new dress.
a new dress. Very good. Why gotten? It has the, let's write that word up. What does it have on it? En, right. And we have the ed. So by the wedding day, Marta will have gotten a new dress. Can you give me one more sentence? Dima?
Dima
Will have
played tomorrow.
Will have played football by tomorrow. So Dima will have played football by tomorrow. Good job.
How do you measure certain things? When you're counting something, if you have more than one pen, it's very easy. You just say 1 pen, 2 pens, or 6 pens, however many you have. But what do you do when you have something like water? For example, how do you measure water? I can say I have 1 cup of water here, but when you have more than that, like a bathtub or a lake, it's hard to measure. We have different kinds of nouns in English. Some of them are count nouns. It's easy to count them. Some of them are non-count nouns. It's hard to count them because they're just not that kind of thing. So something like water or something like rice or sand, it's very hard to count them. So this can be confusing because we have different ways that we speak about them and different ways that we measure how much we have of each thing. So let's join the class as they begin to learn about count and non-count nouns.
So today we're going to talk about count and non-count nouns. I'm just going to write it on the board up here. Does anybody know what that is? Count and non-count nouns. You know? Okay. Would you like to tell us?
The uncount noun is money. Since we can't count it, it is money. We can say 1 money, 2 money. Count noun is the word that we can count it.
Yeah.
It's water, 1 or 2. No, yeah.
Like something you can count, like the chairs in this room you can count.
People. Doors.
Doors. Right. So what is a noun again? You can tell me what a noun is. Noun is a person, a place, or a thing. So a place could be Chernobyl, could be your house. A thing could be the chair, a pen, table, desk. Right. And there's some of them you can count, and some of them you can't count. Let's try. Can you count the rain? If it's raining out, can you count the rain? No. That would be a non-count noun. It would be pretty hard to see all the rainfall and to count it all. Because rain is a noun. It's a thing. What about pens? All the pens in this room, could you count them? Yeah. That's something you can count. What about if I had a bucket full of sand? Could you count each piece of sand?
No.
That would be pretty impossible, wouldn't it? I'd pick little pieces of sand. Do you think you could count it? No. What about rice? Could you count the rice inside this bag? No.
1 bag of rice.
You would say 1 package of rice. You wouldn't count each piece of rice. You would say a bottle of water, but you can't count like just water. No. What about spice? If you know how tiny some spices are? Could you count each little piece of spice? No. What about what about windows? Could you count windows? Yeah. Cars? What's something else you can count? A noun that you can count? What about shoes? Yep, you can count that. What about people? Can we count the people in this room? Yeah. 9 people. Okay. What about books? Can you count books? Yeah. You can count books. Okay. So some nouns are nouns you can count, like what we did, like people, pens, chairs, paper, books. And there are nouns that you can't count. We call those non-count nouns, like the rain. What else? What's something else we can't count? The sand, we can't count. The wind, that's a very good one. We can't count the wind. The sun. Rice we couldn't count. We would say that. Rain. Yes. Those are called non-count nouns. So some nouns are called count nouns because we can add an S on them to make it plural, like chair. You would say chair. There's a chair in this room. You would add a S. And there would be chairs. You can count all the chairs in this room. Can you give me one example of a count noun that we can add an S on the end of it?
Tables.
Tables, very good. Let's see. Tables. Peoples, you would say people, is people. Yeah, you wouldn't add an S.
Pupils.
Pupils, like students, yeah, pupils or students. That's right, students. So these are count nouns. What's something else you can count that's a noun? Any other idea? Like you said shoes. There's one that has an S on the end of it for plural. Not just shoe, you wouldn't say. Shoe. You'd say shoes. Books. Okay, let's try some non-count nouns. Can you give me a non-count noun? Remember, Dima said the wind. That's very good. You can't count wind. What else did we say? Sand? We couldn't count. Any other ideas? What about snow? Can you count snow? No. There's snow. Sand we have. Rain. Water. Let's try to think of one more thing. Spices? Let's try that one. Spices. It has the ES. So, I would say, like, traffic. You couldn't count traffic. Well, anybody know what traffic is? A lot of cars, yeah. When it's the cars on the road, you'd call that traffic. And you can't count the traffic. I could say there's a lot of traffic on the road today. I wouldn't say there's one traffic on the road today or two. I would say or maybe there's not very much. I would say there's very little traffic today. Or there's much traffic today. Oh, I got another one for non-count. What about air? We need air to breathe, right? Hair. That would be kind of hard to count too, wouldn't it? Let's write air down.
Let's review some of what the teacher said and see if we can add something to it as well. We learned that some nouns are very easy to count. For example, I can have 1 book, 2 books, 3 books, and it's very easy to count them. But as we said before, how do you count water? What do you do? How do you measure it? And then there are some things like rice. What about rice? If I were to show you this rice, how would you measure it? You could say this is 1 bag of rice, this is 1 package of rice, but could you count the individual grains of rice inside here? Maybe you could, but it would take a long time. It would be a very high number. So we have a different way of speaking about that. Now this can be confusing at times because we have different ways of speaking about count nouns and non-count nouns. Now how do we measure it? Is there any kind of a rule for this? Actually, yes, there is a rule that could help you. And here's how the rule goes. If you can point at something and say there is 1, there are 2, there are 3, like 3 chairs, 3 dogs, 3 pens, 3 books, we add a number, 1, 2, 3, or whatever the number is, and we put an S on it to make it plural. So we give a number and we add S to make a count noun plural. But there are some things that we know that we can't count that way. So we count them differently. We call them non-count nouns. If something is a liquid, if it is like water or juice or gasoline, it will be a non-count noun because you can't count it. Or if it's something that comes in very tiny pieces, very small pieces, like rice, like sand, like coffee, before you make the coffee, the grounds of coffee. Those are non-count nouns as well. And if it is something that is a kind of a gas, like air or oxygen or something like that, how would you measure this? You can't count different pieces of it. So if it is a liquid, if it comes in very tiny pieces, or if it is a gas, you know it will be a non-count noun. That's a rule that you can follow. And there are some things that come in very tiny units, like grass. When you're out in the yard, out in a field, and you see the grass, there are many tiny blades, tiny pieces of grass. So that is a non-count noun as well. But something like an apple would be a count noun, because you can go 1 apple, 2 apples, 3 apples. Now there are some other things that don't come like that that are also non-count nouns, just because of the way they come. If we think of something like bread, bread comes in a loaf usually, but a loaf can be very big or very small. So how do we measure it? Or one piece of bread can be very big or very small. So bread is a non-count noun. The same thing with cheese, or butter, or ice, or wool. All of these things are non-count nouns because they can be a very big piece or a very small piece when you get it. If you have ice, it can be a very small piece of ice in your drink, or it can be a whole lake covered with ice that goes for miles. Now there are some other things too. And these are things that come in individual pieces, but when we see the many pieces together, we speak of them all together as if they were one thing. We call these collective nouns. Collective nouns. So when you see garbage, maybe you put garbage in the garbage can in your home, but when you see a lot of it together, you don't say there are 100 garbages, but you just say there is a lot of garbage. You speak of it as if it were all one non-count noun. The same thing is true with furniture. Furniture is stuff that you have in your house, like tables and chairs and beds and desks. These are all furniture. Now when you're speaking of one piece of it, a table, you can have 1 table or 2 tables or 3 tables. But when you speak of all of it together, the different kinds of furniture, we speak of it as if it were a non-count noun because it's collective. Furniture can be a television or a bed or a table, so they're very different. So we just say furniture as a collective noun. So these are some of the rules. If it is a gas, if it is a liquid, if it comes in very small pieces, or if it is collective like that. These are non-count nouns. I hope this helps to make it clear for you. Let's do a worksheet now. I will show you a sentence on the screen. Then down below the sentence there will be 2 nouns. One will be a count noun, one will be a non-count noun. The instructions will be for you to choose either the count or the non-count noun, and you must know which one is count, which one is non-count. Remember the rules we gave you, and put that one in the sentence. We will not give you the correct answer immediately. I will let you go through all of them, and then we will come back and give the correct answers. I'd like you to write your answers down for this one though. So after each sentence, and when it says choose the count or the non-count noun, pause the video and then write down the sentence with your answer in the correct spot. All right? Are you ready? Let's begin. 1. Do you like rain or dogs? Choose the non-count noun. 2. Vika likes to play on the sand or slide. Choose the count noun. 3. The room is full of furniture or boxes. Choose the non-count noun. 4. May I borrow some sugar or books? Dima. Choose the non-count noun. 5. I need to buy some cookies or milk. Choose the count noun. 6. Does the store have any apples or orange juice? Choose the non-count noun. 7. The president owns 3 cars or clothing. Choose the count noun. 8. I really don't like tea or bananas. Choose the non-count noun. 9. It's hard to drive with this cow or fog on the road. Choose the non-count noun. 10. Did you pick up the ice or motor? Choose the count noun. 11. How can you live without coffee or dollars? Choose the non-count noun. 12. Please take out the table or garbage. Choose the non-count noun. Are you finished? Did you write down all your answers? And did you put either the count or the non-count noun in the correct place? Good. Now let's go back and review these and give the correct answers. And you see how many you got right. 1. Do you like rain? Rain is a non-count noun. 2. Vika likes to play on the slide. Slide is a count noun. 3. The room is full of furniture. Furniture is a non-count noun. 4. May I borrow some sugar, Dima? Sugar is a non-count noun. 5. I need to buy some cookies. Cookie is a count noun. 6. Does the store have any orange juice? Orange juice is a non-count noun. 7. The president owns 3 cars. Car is a count noun. 8. I really don't like tea. Tea is a non-count noun. 9. It's hard to drive with this fog on the road. Fog is a non-count noun. 10. Did you pick up the motor? Motor is a count noun. 11. How can you live without coffee? Coffee is a non-count noun. 12. Please take out the garbage. Garbage is a non-count noun.
Okay, I have one more game we're going to play. It's called Count and Non-Count Noun Game. So I'm going to pass, you're going to come up and I'm going to give you a paper. You're going to look at your paper and you're going to show it to everybody and they're going to say if it's count or non-count noun. Okay? So there's lots here. So Tanya, you want to come up front first? You want to come up? So I'm going to give you this one and you're going to read it and show it to everybody. Paper. Count or non-count noun? It's a count noun. Okay, Dima.
Oh, count noun.
It's actually, paper is a non-count noun.
Why?
There's so many, lots of paper, it's something you can't count. Okay, thank you. Elisa? So you're going to read it and show it to everybody.
Blanket.
Blanket.
You can count blankets.
You can count blankets, right. So blanket is a
Count noun.
count noun. Very good. Thank you. Vika. This is an interesting one.
Frost.
Frost. Do you know what frost is?
Yeah.
What is frost?
It's when it's cold weather and we have some things in our windows.
Yeah, it's like kind of like icy and white. Can you count frost?
No.
No, you can't count frost. So it's a... what type of noun is it? Non-count noun. Good job. Thank you, Vika. Marta.
No.
House.
House.
House. Is that a count or non-count noun?
No.
Count noun, because you can count houses, right?